I am extremely pleased to introduce Sandro Furter, who's joining us to give us an actual case study. And these things are incredibly valuable. I always learn something when I hear from an end user that's put things together. And very much looking forward to hearing about their brand new full IP campus. So take it away, Sandro.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me to present you our project. We're quite a small broadcaster, but I think we have done a great project when it comes to the new technology. In Zurich, we have built up a full IP campus, but it's not the only project we had in Zurich. SRG, that's the Swiss national-wide broadcaster. As you maybe know, Switzerland has 4 different language regions, so we speak 4 languages in our country. That makes broadcasting a bit more tricky. We have 4 different TV chains in Switzerland. I'm coming from SRF, based in Zurich, so we have the German-speaking part in Zurich. SRG is the overall company doing the national-wide thing. We have a few 2110 related projects done in the past 3 years, and then also, of course, in the upcoming years. To give you two ideas about projects, which I'm not covering into more detail, but to have an idea. First project we have just finished quite a few months ago was a project called Orion. Orion is our Swiss national-wide 2110 distribution and contribution network. As you can read, it's a bit, it's 55 locations across the whole country, so all sports stadiums, different locations we have. They're all interconnected using a 2110 based network. In addition, we do also the other IT-related network things like the WAN and the intranet and every other IP-related communication over this network. That's operated by a provider, so that's for us something new. So 2110 operated by an operator with questions of handover points. How do you do measurement, security? How do you do SLA for 2110 flows? It's not anymore as a SDI, which you can easily monitor. You have to packetize things, you have to monitor things. So yeah, a lot of questions there, which I'm not covering into more detail. And we had another project, which I'm not covering into with more details. Also a 2110 project quite years ago, 4 years now in operation. It's called UHD1, that's the OB truck, our biggest one, 24 cameras, UHD, HDR truck. Also they're fully 2110 based. That was our first 2110 project, which was realized, which went into operation. It's like a lab in production. So the first people had working with it. That was a great thing to get a first overview. And if you think 4 years ago, where was 2110 4 and 5 years ago? It was quite a new standard. It's not the same as we see here today at IBC. But I'm going a bit more into detail about the new campus in Zurich called MedTechno. Maybe you have heard about the project name. Media Technology is the brand for that. It's a new campus. It's a new building in Zurich. The new building, it covers, we can say, everything you need to do TV, radio, and multimedia or online production. So we have studios, we have the newsrooms for sport, for news, we have data centers, we have national services like MCR, playout, distribution, aggregation. So there's quite the whole chain from the input until the playout that you need. It was a great project as it was a greenfield approach. There was really everything we could build up from scratch. We didn't have any technical limitations to say, hey, you have to follow these standards, you have to use this platform. We were free in evaluating the right technology. We have done a lot of parallel thing as we started 2016, 2017 with the first planning. During this time, it was not clear if there is really IP the choice or we should go to SDI. Today, we're happy that we've done the right choice, I think. What is in this building? Yeah, Switzerland isn't the biggest country. We don't have 50 or 60 TV channels. We have 3 TV channels. We have a few radio channels in the building. I don't go through all these numbers. You can read them. There are a few studios, larger and smaller ones. And of course, you can get the presentation afterwards. So you can get through all the numbers to see what's in this building. Maybe the pictures you see a bit more. It's a modern building with all the new fancy architectural stuff you need. It's a non-territorial work area, 600 working places into this new building. We enable a lot of cooperation between vectors, so radio, TV, online, multimedia is working closely together. The newsroom is shared. We don't have any more strict divisions-based working there. So it enables also for the journalist a big new working or new workflows. Some images from outside. You see the building here, and from inside, it's a great architectural scenography there. It's a lot of open areas that you see people working, that you see what's going up inside the studios. Even the studio itself is in the middle of the journalist working area. So even in the daily news show, you see the people working there. That's the biggest new studio. But let's go to the technology side, which maybe is more for interesting of you all. As I already say, it's a full 2110 based architecture. To give you a rough overview about current numbers, it's 2 months ago, the numbers I've took out from the system. There are 426 native AP devices on the network, audio and video. There are around 160 switches. They are growing from day to day. It's currently a bit tricky to get new switches with the delivery time. We have a huge amount of streams. If you see, video is quite easy, 30,000 video streams. Impressive, I think, is the audio part. If I said we speak 4 languages, we do a lot of parallel production in stereo and 5.1. We do even 3.0 to have better understanding of the spoken voice, so left, center, and right for daily shows. That gives us a huge amount of audio streams. I'm covering that later on, why we have this huge amount. 8,000 ancillary streams, they're not often used for that. Why have we done this IP thing? Of course, flexibility is a key today. You have to have a network which transports everything you have. We're talking now about SRT, other upcoming streams. We have NDI questions. We have Dante and other IP-related things. So a network isn't the wrong choice. A network can transport everything. If we go into detail, if you have to transport Dante in parallel of 2110, maybe it's a bit more tricky. We don't like that to do in this project, but IP network was the right choice for enabling all the future things. If you go to UHD, HDR, it's not a question that you have to replace a lot of things. It's more the network is ready for that. But when we started 2018, 2017 with the first IP-related things, we had to do a lot of POC. There was a lot of marketing here at IBC, at NAB. Yeah, we can do 2110, we can do PTP, we understand your need, we do NMOS. Maybe not. In the lab, we solve a lot of things, and not cool to say, but even today here at IBC, I speak with people, they say, I have fully NMOS support. Take a sticker of the last JTNM, and then you know really good if they're really able to do it. And what is NMOS? I cover that later on if we talk about ISO 4 and 5 or other standards. We went on air mid of year 2020 with the first studio. We're not on air with the whole building until now, so it was an agile project. I would say the project will never finish in an agile world. We have new studio coming up. We have new areas in the project which just started now. New idea of a new TV show which needs a new architectural. So the project, I think, will never finish. But of course, we had the owner already 2 years ago, so we have a lot of experience what's going on. I've grabbed four areas where I like to give you some insight, some examples about where we had issues, where we had our challenges in the project. One was bouquet. What is a bouquet? It's a French word. Our audio configuration in IP is not often seen with other broadcasters. We don't do any 8 or 60 channel audio configuration in IP. Why? In SDI, of course, I had 16 channels embedded. In IP, I have the full flexibility. We put together in one stream what belongs together from the content view. So if there is a spoken stream in mono and a stereo and a 5.1, we generate 3 streams. We don't put them together into one, which results in having a huge number of streams. We have a high dynamic. So during a program preparation, the standard can change from stereo.5.1 as the producer defines, I have to do it in 5.1 now and not only stereo. So the whole control system, the devices need to be aware that during operation, a stream can change from stereo to 5.1. How do you control this dynamical changing? That was a key challenge that was challenging us too much in the project. We had a delay of more than 1.5 years. We haven't foreseen this complexity in audio, and it started already by the devices supporting a 3-channel AS67 stream. Yeah, that's part of the standard. Who was able to do that 5 years ago? If I talk to them, do you support a 3.0 stream? Why? I can do 2 and 4 channel, but not 3. Yeah, but it's part of the standard. Not everywhere. We have done an event-based workflow to give you some ideas. There's a lot of technology thing in it for end users to know which stream 5.1 stereo. Is it a German or a French one? We have done some sort of abstraction level. An event-based workflow is a journalist, to make a big picture. A journalist can have some stream in the in department. He can link it to the production department. He don't have to care about technology things, about tags. If it is a 2-channel, 1 millisecond stream, that's every string abstracted to the journalist. He can press on a graphical user interface, say, hi, I like to have the daily news show 6 o'clock evening in stereo German. And the system is calculating all the other rest until the 2110 based area. But that's something new that wasn't there, that a vendor can sell you a control system, a broadcast controller, which is able to do this handy thing, this dynamical thing. So there was a lot of cooperation with vendors. We had to invent system. We have to invent control interfaces. Besides, we had to find the right standard if NMOS is able to do that, if we have to do some REST API drivers. A lot of work we finished, and hopefully that was the right choice to do. But from the user view, they don't care about this technology thing. So for a user, a well-implemented IP technology is really invisible to the end user. Even an operator in your MCR, he doesn't have to understand if there is an SDI signal or an IP signal. He needs to grab a signal, to put it somewhere, to work with that. So we have really done this abstraction that the end user and even a technician in a gallery, in a studio, he is not aware that there is really an IP flow. Of course, they know it. Of course, they were involved in all the thing. But when we started the project, we have trained in hours and days all technical users going to network training, going to 2110 trainings. Today, we see it was an investment that was not needed. But having this flexibility that your network allows you to do quite everything. So there's one big network for the whole campus. I don't care if it is a radio signal or a TV signal or going to an online stream. This flexibility, presenting that to your journalists, to your operational teams, was too much. As I can say, I can do everything. Let me know what I should do. But they were not aware about this flexibility. Of course, they say every day, I need flexibility. I like to do everything. But if you answer then, let me say what you like, they were not well trained from the past that they really can do everything. In the past, we had building blocks. We have a gallery 1 and a gallery 2, some tie lines in between. They were aware that I have 5 lines between 2 galleries. Now I can say there are 2,000 lines in between. If you like to connect you together, do what you like. That took us into a huge amount of discussions with the journalists, enabling them new things. In parallel, they had already a new building, which new possibilities. So it took us really more time. This 1.5 year was not foreseen in the project schedule, and then there was COVID and other things. So yeah, was a big challenge there. Another insight, this orchestration thing. We have, of course, a fully orchestrated network. We don't do any IGMP or PIM or wherever. The network is fully controlled in 3 levels. We have on the top 3 control system. The company BFE, the KSC Core was our brand chosen. That's the main interface to the end user. It's the abstraction level to the journalist. So we have everything self-service. There is no MCR operator which sends a stream to some multi-viewer. So it's everything self-service. You have to grab the thing you need, even in a gallery or a studio. We have a Nevion product, the Video iPass, as an orchestrator for the whole network. We have below switches Arista brand chosen for the real-time network, to spine leaf architectural, fully interconnected. And you see here on the left side that there is NMOS ISO 4 and 5 dedicated drivers to speak with the end devices. That's the ideal world. 30% of the devices, about this 500, speak NMOS. Sorry to say, the other 60% were not able years ago, and even today sometimes, to speak NMOS as we like. Of course, they say we do NMOS, but if you go into the details, sometimes it's getting tricky. It's not an error of NMOS. It's a question if the standard is implemented well by the vendors. We have some challenges. This dynamic audio changing isn't possible if there is no NMOS standard beside 4 and 5 implemented. There are others, 6, 7, 8, and going up, which allows us to do internal matrix switching, doing device monitoring. In the tender, we like to have an edge device, a 2110 device, and an NMOS API. I'll show you the reality today. We have 4 interfaces per device. Of course, we have an ISO 4 and an ISO 5 connections for doing discovery, not often used, but management. We have another API to configure device-specific parameters, like a video standard sometimes, or color correction, things like that. Internal audio matrix. We have, of course, a web GUI where you do backup and configuration management. And we have a monitoring SNMP, as it's nice to do switching over an NMOS interface, but I need to know if PTP is locked. I need to know if both -7 streams are coming to the end device, and this monitoring is the key thing. It's if the network is stable in the ideal world, I don't care about monitoring. The reality is something else. So monitoring until now, after 2 years, nearly 2 years of operation, isn't solved yet. We don't have this clear monitoring view, as not every device is reporting you in an API if PTP is locked, if there is a packet drop. So yeah, still waiting for vendors doing a great job there to implement even the monitoring thing. Yeah, and the choice for an orchestrator was one of the best thing. I think today that we have chosen a good product. There are others that you can find doing the same job. We have a centralized way with the orchestrator to do some sort of monitoring. We can do one single source of truth. We can do device management in a centralized application, which is helpful if you have hundreds of devices. You don't like to dig in every device and configure an IP address. We would like to do some Ansible playbook scripts for configuring devices, doing fully automated thing. If I ask vendor, do you have a REST API which I can configure everything of your device? No, I have my own control application that you can install on your notebook. Hey guys, I have maybe 300 of the same devices. Should I really connect my computer over a USB 300 times to configure a device address? That's what I often hear here, even today, from big vendors. Have they ever done a project in this sizing? I know they have done it, but 50 engineers doing 1 month of IP configuration, maybe. I don't know how they have done that. We have done screen recording to click the same buttons for every device, but maybe not the way you like to do. Even there, way more time than expected. Another great discussion is redundancy. Everyone likes to have -7 in the devices. Think a bit back in SDI. Have you ever seen a device in SDI which has 2 SDI output where you can route 2 different paths? I haven't seen that personally often. Of course, you can do distribution amplifiers and other things in SDI, but this discussion in IP, you have to do everything double. In our project, we have the MDC, the data center, everything in -7, the main gallery in -7. The rest, we have no redundancy. I have 24 post-production area. If there is one switch failing, maybe 8 of them are out of order. But should I really invest in having my network double size, in having all the interfaces double? No, if there is another scaling factor, you can go to another studio, you can go to another gallery. This thinking was hard to get understood, as the technology allows to you to have redundancy. But do you really need it? Go one step back to the SDI world, have a look what you had there as a redundancy. At least we as a SRF, we haven't done everything twice. Matrix in SDI, there's one in one room and not 2 in 2 rooms. And another time-consuming thing, there's no playbook, there's no Ansible, there's no automation. An I/O process. Plan before install, before use. Yeah, in theory that looks good. in the past in SDI, there's a camera, there's a cable, there's a screen. Put the cable in the screen, the camera, and you immediately see the image. Do the same in IP. You start with asking for a device name, a host name. Maybe you do some CAD drawing, you do some Excel list. Where is the IP documentation? You need an optic 10 gig, 25 gig, 100 gig, multi-mode, MTP, LC connector. Which one? You need cabling, you need installation, of course, still today. But then, firewall, which port is NMOS using? Is the port open between the orchestrator? Is the discovery server reachable? Is the DHCP server for the layer 2 configured right? All these IP-related things have to be clearly done before you can attach a device, before you can even see an image on a screen. We weren't prepared for this one after one step. Often we have done a lot of things in parallel, and now we discovered, hey, there's a lot of IP-related things that you have to check before you can even start the installation. And if your installation is done, you have to do a lot of other things like all this firewalling and security stuff. Even there, took us way more time than expected with a lot of manual things. We have to invent tools to support our end users. Of course, we have found ways, we have found workarounds, we have found additional resources. But a lot of things that we haven't foreseen with all this new technology. And what's coming next? There are a lot of other projects we are realizing at the moment with IP. We have a lot of replacement of old infrastructure. For us, that's cool, but for us, a big thing coming up is a feature we call together with our orchestration provider is federation. Today, we have one building block in Zurich. There is one network, there's one orchestrator, but we have in Geneva, we have in other regions, Lugano, we have other studios. We like to interconnect with them. We like to share the resources. We like to share the streams with them. We have already a full IP-based interconnection workflow. So the next big thing is to do this hybrid connectivity with other external partners, with an OB truck, and even going to the cloud. How can we configure a connection, doing a connection to the cloud? That's our next big thing coming. And another really small portion to end up, where's the Army knife, the Swiss Army knife for 2110? Where all these gearboxes, if you know a quad split module in IP 2110, please let me know. If you know a small converter for $1,000, where are these products? Still today, nowhere. I find everything big. I find multi-viewers, vision mixer, slow motion devices in 2110. But I think you know good how many small boxes you need to support a TV production. And that's a tricky thing to find still today, and hopefully will answer the next upcoming years for also the small boxes. That's from my side. I will be here for questions a few moments also outside. If you have questions, let me know. If no, there's my email address. If you need to get more in detail, please ask and send me an email. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sandro. Anybody have any quick questions? Really appreciate your candor and letting us know what worked and didn't work. That's really important for the industry to move forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.